Hello, everyone. Welcome to eSight Vision Central, eSight Go 5.2 software update today on August 29th, 2025. Looking forward to having everyone here today to discuss the new 5.2 software update for the eSight Go. And so just happy to have everyone here. We're going to get started for the meeting. So just for the agenda today, we're going to have an introduction, housekeeping, cover the eSight Go MSRP, quickly discuss kind of candidates for eSight Go, and then the 5.2 software update for the eSight Go. So as for introduction, this is live, so things might happen, might have technical issues, might have issues with the presentation. So just everything is live here. Just want to let you know. At the end of the session, if you need to raise your hand to ask a question at the end of the meeting, you can either press the icon to raise your hand on the Teams app, or you can press Control-Shift-K on a PC or Command-Shift-K on the Mac. And this session should only take about 30 to 45 minutes. And to access the Old Vision Central webinar recording, you can go to our eSight Eyewear YouTube channel, youtube.com/eSight. So the eSight Go MSRP, the MSRP for the eSight Go is as follows. In the US, the eSight is $4,950, and in Canada, it's going for $6,600. And now for candidates for eSight Go, sometimes you have people joining these meetings that are interested in the eSight, and so just want to kind of cover at a high level good candidates for the eSight Go. If you have questions about your individual candidacy for the eSight and whether eSight would work for you or not, I would recommend calling in to Gentex to find out and to get screened if eSight is the right product for you. But at a high level, eSight Go is designed to assist people with a visual acuity of 2080 to 2600, and eSight was designed to help those with central vision loss. For eSight Go to work properly to enhance your vision, we do recommend having some functional peripheral vision. If you don't have a lot of peripheral vision, there is a chance that the eSight will not benefit you. eSight Go can assist a variety of conditions, what's designed to help those with central vision loss, such as macular degeneration or Stargardt, but conditions that affect peripheral vision, such as glaucoma and retinitis pigmentosa, can be more challenging to assist. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we're just going to today talk about the eSight Go 5.2 software update, and we have a list of topics that we're going to cover. But just to get into it here at a high level, a 5.2 software update was released for the eSight Go on August 26, 2025, and so about 3 days ago. And the eSight will receive the update the next time the unit is connected to Wi-Fi. So if someone takes their eSight Go, connects it to Wi-Fi, they should receive an automatic prompt that an update is available. And the important thing for updating your eSight Go is to make sure that you have the latest enhancements like manual exposure and quick zoom on your device. So these are two functional features that have been added that we're going to be talking about today. But that's the one great benefit of having the 5.2 software update. So first off is our first topic. We're going to be discussing connecting to Wi-Fi and getting the update with Richard. So Richard, I'll let you get into that, and I will bring up the first slide when you start going.
All right, thanks, Tyler. So as Tyler said, the first thing we got to do to get this update is connect our device to Wi-Fi. So I'm going to take you through the easiest and best way to connect your eSight to Wi-Fi, and that is using the eSight Companion app. So to get the eSight Companion app, you want to go to your app store, whether that be Android or Apple, but go to where you get your apps and you want to type in eSight Companion. Make sure that you do specify it's eSight Companion because there are other eSight apps. eSight Companion it'll look like it has a big E on the thumbnail. So you go ahead and you get that and you download it. Now, once the app is downloaded, you want to open it. So you click on it to open it, and it's going to say, would you like to connect to an eSight unit? So you go ahead and press the connect, and it's going to come up, it's going to search, and it'll look and it'll find your serial number, and it's going to put that there. You tap connect, and you will get a message in the eSight that says, do you want to allow? At that point, you want to use your mode button, whether that's on the arm or on the remote. You use the mode button to confirm, and that's going to allow it to connect to your eSight. Now you've established the connection between the app and the eSight. Now the app will open up into its full form, like a final boss, and it will have different choices: connect to Wi-Fi, share your view, and eSight remote. So what you want to tap on is going to be the connect to Wi-Fi. Now at that point, it's going to ask you, is it okay to use your location services? This is what is going to allow it to pull your Wi-Fi network name and populate that into the field there, which makes it so that you only have to put in your Wi-Fi password into where it says password. Once you've done that, you press connect, and it should connect your eSight, and then you'll be connected to Wi-Fi. Now, if you want to make sure that you're connected to Wi-Fi, remember that when you press your menu button and it opens up your home menu, it's going to say the Wi-Fi network you're connected to. So that's a really easy way to know for sure if you're connected to Wi-Fi. Now, do let the eSight turn on for 30 seconds or so, because it does take it a little bit to establish that connection, right? So if you, like, the minute you turn the eSight on, if you go to the menu, it won't show anything. Got to give it a second. Okay, so now that you have that established, you should be able to, the update is going to come automatically. The next time you turn the eSight on, you're going to get this prompt that says, do you want to allow? Again, you use that mode button, and this should start the update process. You should start to be able to see this little a circle in the top left of the screens. Now, we're all blind here, so if you don't see it, understandable. It is an icon in the top corner. But if you can see it, that is your indication that the eSight is updating. If you have any trouble with that, we recommend that you contact us and let your coach help you kind of troubleshoot your way through it. But that is going to be step one in getting your update loaded in successfully.
Excellent. Thank you, Richard. And as you said, that's kind of high level. Just connect your eSight to Wi-Fi, and then when you restart your unit, you'll get a prompt for the update, and you can download the update to the to your unit, and we'll go from there. And just to kind of help us out, just navigation and so forth, our next topic is going to be kind of general navigation of the menu with Leah. And Leah put together a little video here showing the menu navigation. So I'm going to pull that up. And then Leah, afterward, if you have anything to add, feel free to chime in.
Got it.
All right, we'll hit play now.
Navigation of the menu. Hey everyone, so today we're going to be doing the navigation of the menu screen. The menu section is used primarily for making permanent changes to the device. So it is completely normal to forget how to navigate through this section, selecting things and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to learn today. So the first thing you want to do is to get to the menu screen, you're going to quick press your menu button down at the bottom, which is the one with the 3 lines. So this screen here is a little bit different only because I am using eShare, share your view on the app. Otherwise, it would only have 4 dots on the right-hand side, and there would be no up arrow like there is now. So that's the only difference between this screen and what you would see if you're not connected to eShare. So in regards to these 4 dots, or 5 dots here, but originally 4, is that tells you how many pages are in this particular column. And you can see the second dot is shaded differently. That means that you are on that page. Then you also have here in the bottom middle of the screen, you have this down arrow. So that gives you the direction that you need to go. So we're going to press our down arrow button. And now you'll see that the dot on the right-hand side of the screen, the shading's changed to the third one down. And then you have an up arrow, which will take you back to the screen that we were just on, and a down arrow. So then we're going to go down again. And then we'll go down one more time. And now you can see the final dot is shaded in, or not shaded, it's just different from the others. And there is no longer a down arrow, so that means that we can't go any further. So we're only going to go up. So to advance the screen forward on settings, we are going to press our mode button, which is the top one with the circle. And now you can see that there's a lot more dots. And again, you're only having a single down arrow. But we're going to stay here in brightness, and we're going to confirm on brightness using our mode button. So right now I have auto selected. And we're going to change that. So I'm going to go down, because you can see there's 2 pages, and there were down arrow. Now there's only up. And we're going to select manual with our mode button. So again, change them there, and now you have a down arrow. So I'm going to put it at 100%. Now the thing to remember when you're making a selection is that unless you have that square around your selection with the check mark, it is not locked in. So you remember that circle gets the square. So to confirm the selection, we are going to press our mode button with the circle, and it gets the square. Now, there's 2 different ways to exit out of the menu screens. The first one is to do quick presses on your bottom menu button, and that will back you up 1 screen at a time. Or you can long press on this button, and it will back you up completely out of the menu screen, just bypassing all the screens that we had gone through. There you go. And this all works the same way with the arm controls. With the arm controls on the top of the right arm, your mode button is the front one closest to the hinge. Your menu button is the back one that's going to be closest to your ear. And then you have the rocker bar with the 2 arrows. Thank you.
Perfect. So thank you, Leah, for going over the general navigation and kind of showing where we're going to go into our next topic, which is manual exposure. But anything to add to that?
No, really the main thing with the menu is that you're going to be using it a little bit more maybe with quick zoom, but that's Jeanette's topic, so I won't say too much on that.
No.
But that's going to be where the menu is for the quick zoom. So.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Okay. And so next we're going to be discussing the manual exposure and what that means in the 5.2 software update with Cosmo. So Cosmo, take it away discussing manual exposure.
Alrighty. So this is helpful for any time you've got different lighting conditions. Use case at a play or a concert where there's bright stage lights. I was at a play and the stage lights were bright white and shining down, and by default the eSight exposure control on automatic would not lower the exposure enough. and that would result in the actors seeming washed out. The one of the actors was in blue denim, and it looked very white. He just looked like a white ghost, kind of. And before this software update, there was nothing manually you could do. Now we have the power to, with the mode button, I've got my volume up to 7, so hopefully you guys can hear. I give it a click. I'm on Zoom right now. Contrast, color filters, volume, exposure. So right now we're on auto. So if I'm in my living room with the lights on, if I were to go into my home office where it's dark, the auto exposure would raise the or lower the exposure, or no, raise the exposure to let more light in, and it would let me see better. Here in the living room with the bright lights on, auto has the exposure lowered a little bit so that it lets less light in and the light doesn't blind you. But at that play, I went into manual exposure, and then I can click down on the down arrows. 8, 7. And for me at that play, I found exposure 4 to be optimum. And that it was essentially felt like the eSight was putting on sunglasses. Those harsh white lights were dimmed down. I could see the colors better of the actors and actually distinguish their face. It wasn't just a hot white thing. And here in my living room with the bright lights on, again, it's like I'm looking through a tinted car window a little bit, and I can actually see the outline of the ceiling lights as opposed to it just being a bright white ball of sun. If I want to go back to auto, I can just do a long press of the mode button, reset view. Now I'm unzoomed, tilt is back to normal, and I'm back on auto exposure. So I'm going to get back there. Oh, I went too far. So in general, you're going to be turning the exposure down, which lets less light in. That's useful for television also. I have tried it on my newer 2020 television. It works really well. I do have a 2010 era plasma TV, and that one gives me a little bit of flickering when I lower the exposure, but I don't think many people have 2010 plasmas anymore. So any modern screen from the last 12 years or so should be just fine. I look at my iPad or my iPhone or my computer screen, they all look totally fine. And it's just a nice option. If I'm looking at my email on my iPad, the white background with the text on it, that white background can be a little bit bright and kind of wash out some of the letters, make it a little fuzzy. Lowering the exposure is an easy way to adjust it. You could also just turn down the brightness on your screen, and that's easy enough on an iPad or an iPhone, not as easy on a television. I would not know how to get into the menu on my TV to manually turn down the brightness, and that might be annoying for the other people here. When it's just my device, it's my choice. But when it comes to a TV or a desktop computer, adjusting the exposure on the eSight's probably easier. Another use case is outdoors. I was outside overlooking some green pastures, and it was a sunny day, and over in the far off distance were some mountains, and the automatic exposure was reacting to the bright sunlight and the sun bouncing off the grass. And I couldn't see any of the mountains in the background because the exposure wasn't perfect. And when I turned that down, it made the grass darker, but then that allowed me to see the contour of the mountains and the difference between the mountains and the sky. So it's a nice feature to be able to play around with and fine tune that. If you have, however long you've had your eSight go, if you haven't noticed a problem, keep it simple. Don't even mess with it. But if you've been saying, boy, my TV doesn't look, I wish it looked a little bit better, or the colors are a little off, or that guy's face looks a little bit too white, this is a good option to check out. but us coaches always encourage everybody to keep it simple. And I've got one lady whose only goal is to read, and all she does is zoom in. She doesn't mess with contrast or color filters because she doesn't need to. And I have worked with several people who make things more complicated, and when you're looking at stuff, you don't need to make 4 or 5 adjustments on every different mode for every little thing you look at. And step 1 is always zoom, and if that's good enough, leave it there. And the important thing to remember is holding down that reset button will reset you back to auto exposure. So if I dial it all the way down to 1, now the living room is very dark. And if I turn my ceiling lights off, Alexa, ceiling lights off. Sorry if that set off anybody's devices. Now I can barely see anything because exposure's at 1. It's letting in very little light. So I'm going to press the reset button. Now I'm on auto exposure again. The camera lightened up, and I can now see my living room. So it's a very welcome addition to the modes. And there you have it. Tyler, anything to add?
Yep. No, I think that's great, and I think the advice to keeping it simple is good. You won't always need to adjust the manual exposure on the unit, but it's a nice new feature to have, on this 5.2 software update. If you're looking at TV screens or things like that with, outside and bright light, you can adjust the exposure as needed to tweak that image. But you always want to start off with zoom and contrast and then go from there. So that's great. Thank you very much, Cosmo.
I do want to add real quick that you can go down to get back into auto. You can also go 1 below manual 1. So basically like manual exposure 0 will get you back into auto as well. If you have like tilt and zoom enacted and you don't want to reset all of that, you can just do it that way as well. Just go down past exposure 1 and it will reset to auto.
That's
Perfect.
right.
Thank you, Leah. Great.
Mhm.
All right. Next, we're going to be discussing the quick zoom feature with Jeanette. So, Jeanette,
Thank
take
you,
it
Tyler.
away.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. And again, I think I reiterate what Cosmo and Tyler said, that just because there's a lot of functions on here, you don't have to use them all. If you don't need them, don't use them. And this is one of them actually, but this is a fantastic one, quick zoom. I'm going to just clarify for some people who could get confused. On your remote control on the eSight Go, there are 2 tiny buttons on the top. The one on the left-hand side of your device at the top left, it sticks up slightly more than the one on the right. The one on the left has 2 functions, okay? It's got a function called Finder or Spot Zoom, as some people know from previous eSight versions. And it now has a function called Quick Zoom. I'm going to explain the difference. In a way, they are polar opposites, okay? So just to tell you that Spot Zoom, or what some people know also as Finder on this button, works when you are zoomed up. So you have to have some level of zoom in order to use Spot Zoom or Finder. So for example, let's just say you're zoomed up 10 times because you're doing some fairly close-up work, and you like that level of zoom, whatever your level of zoom is. Just for the moment, we're going to say 10 times. You're doing some close-up work and you need that level of zoom. However, you want to quickly zoom out and have an overall perspective of the picture. So if you press and hold that upper left button on your remote, okay, while you're zoomed up on, say, 10 times zoom, it's going to immediately zoom you back out to 1 time. So it's going to zoom you back to the default of 1 time before any zoom has been added. And as long as you're holding that button, you're going to be zoomed out, but there's going to be a little display of a square-shaped sort of box. So it's a transparent, but it's got the outline of a square-shaped box pointing to wherever it is you've been looking. So your camera is going to be looking at whatever it is that box, that's inside of that box, okay? And if you move your head to something else, say you want to look at a clock on the wall, and you place that box onto the clock on the wall, you're going to release that little top left-hand button, back you're going to be at 10 times zoom, and you're going to see the clock really close to you. So basically, what the quick zoom, or I'm sorry, what the spot zoom or the finder is when you're zoomed up on an image and you want to quickly zoom out and have an overall picture. You're going to press that button on the top left-hand side, and it's going to quickly zoom you out and give you the opportunity to focus on something specific and then zoom back up on it. Okay, so you have to have zoom activated in order to use the spot zoom or the finder. Now then, the other new feature is called quick zoom. Quick zoom is where you have no zoom except for the default 1 time, which is what we generally on when the eSight first turns on. And supposing you're in an environment where you want an overall picture, you do not want to be zoomed into anything because maybe you are looking at an overall screen, maybe you are looking at an overall game on TV, maybe you are looking at a social situation, maybe you're looking at faces, maybe you're looking at a plate of food, maybe you're looking in a restaurant around you, and all of a sudden you want to zoom in on something specific. Okay, this is where the quick zoom comes in. So the principle is that when you are zoomed out completely, if you press that top left-hand button, your eSight is going to instantly zoom in on an item that you want to see in detail. So it can be very, very handy. And what's wonderful about this actual function is that you can go into the menu and set the type of zoom that you think you would want. So some people know that, oh, you know, when I'm looking through my eSight and zoomed up, I tend to like 10 times zoom, or I tend to like 15 times zoom, or I tend to like 6 times zoom. And so I'm going to go into the settings menu. I'm going to go past brightness, and the next one down is going to be quick zoom. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to select it with my mode button, and then it gives me the choice of between 2 and 24 times zoom, literally. So you can step up and, you know, go to the exact amount of zoom that you tend to like and set it so that that zoom level is what it will instantly bring you to when you press that top left-hand button. So you're zoomed out, and let's just say, oh, I like to generally be 19 times zoom. And you suddenly press that button while you're zoomed out, it's going to zoom you in 19 times instantly. That is a really, really wonderful feature. Sometimes I'll be looking at my computer screen and I don't want to be zoomed in, but all of a sudden I need to see the time at the very top of my screen and I can't see it because it's a little too small. I will look up towards that direction. I will press that quick zoom button and it will instantly zoom me up to where I'm comfortable. And then I can see what I need to see, for example, the time, and then I can release that button and then it will bring me back to no zoom or 1 time zoom. Now, the other feature about this that I want to tell you is that if you have a few things that you want to look at while you have pressed that button and you are in the zoom mode now, it will stay there for about 28 seconds. So as long as you've got your finger pressed down on that quick zoom, I counted it, it's going to stay there for about 28 seconds. And then it's going to actually just go back out to the 1 level of zoom again, even if your finger's pressed down. So, you know, if you decide, oh, you know, while I'm zoomed in here, I just want to do something, just bear in mind that while you've got your finger pressed on there, it's going to stay there for about 28 seconds, and then it's going to automatically go back to 1 time zoom. So what you'd have to do is take your finger off and then, you know, put your finger back on there to go back up to a zoom, or you could just zoom up, and then of course you've got the finder or the spot zoom if you want to zoom back out quickly. So there's just a little overview of that quick zoom function.
Thank you, Jeanette, and that's great. And I think your example with looking at a computer screen and then being able to quickly zoom at to the level you want is an excellent way of describing it. I know for myself, if I'm ever doing some Excel work, I might find contrast is really helpful for looking at a spreadsheet. But to see that formula bar, I might need, 5 zoom quickly, and I found the quick zoom is great where I might, not using any zoom, but just the contrast functionality of the eSight. I can press and hold quick zoom. It snaps me to 5 quickly. I can check out that bar, get more detail, then let go, zoom back out, and back to where I was. So just, if you know there's a certain distance that you like for like quickly checking on something, and you're not using you're at the level 1, it is a neat little feature to experiment with. And some people might have a use case for it, and some people not. And once again, it's like Jeanette was saying, we're going to keep it simple. Just because this quick zoom function is there, it might not be something that's helpful for you as an individual eSight user, but I'm sure there are some users that are going to find a good case use for it. So that was great summary, Jeanette. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and then so the next thing I'm going to mention with the 5.2 software update, and this is just something I want to bring to your attention, with the software update, but it's not like the manual exposure or the quick zoom, but with the 5.2 update, there are 2 icons that have been put into the software to kind of help with the functionality of the unit. The first one is that there is going to be a Bluetooth icon that's going to appear on the screen when the eSight is in Bluetooth pairing mode. So if you have your eSight remote and you're going to be pairing it to your eSight, as you're aware, the eSight will go into pairing mode for the first couple minutes of having the eSight turn on, and there wouldn't necessarily be an icon on the screen previously. Now there is going to be an icon that appears on the screen, and it's a Bluetooth icon just to show that the unit is in pairing mode, and that you can just press the Bluetooth button on your remote to get the Bluetooth the remote connected via the Bluetooth. So just wanted to mention that Bluetooth icon. And then the other new icon that is going to appear in the 5.2 software update is when you're using the freeze functionality. So previously, when you froze the video image on the screen, the video image would stay frozen. So, if you're looking at something and you freeze an image, you can then zoom on the image and pan around the image and so on and so forth. What they've added now is a freeze icon in the upper right corner when freeze is turned on, and it will say freeze in the upper right to know that you do have the freeze functionality there and it is turned on. So those are just 2 kind of quality of life icons that were added to the unit in the 5.2 software update. Okay, so we've covered the main things for the 5.2 software. Next, you go to some questions. If anyone has any, the wrong way. See, we are live. There we go. If anyone has any questions for the 5.2 software, we can't help with specific update questions. I would recommend calling in that and speaking with your coach. But just have a general questions or functionality. I'm happy to help with that. And if you have individual candidacy questions for eSight Go, whether eSight would work for you or not, I would recommend calling in as well. But if you do have a question, feel free to.
Just to proactively put it out there, if your software update gives you a failure message, just got to try it again and keep trying it. It takes some persistence sometimes. Mine took about 35 minutes to update. And the good news is you are able to continue using the eSight as normal. The little spinny icon will be in the upper left. Otherwise, you can navigate and have live view on as normal. So you can continue your activities. Then it'll pop up saying the software update is done, and it'll restart the device. But if it does give you a failure message, just try it again. And sometimes it takes a little persistence.
And then also, real quick, to answer a question in the Q&A, to tell if your software update is completed, probably the easiest way is if you cycle through those modes and you get to volume and then your next mode is exposure, then it's updated successfully. If you're not sure and you just don't know, you can always go down in the menu selection. You can go down to support, about, and then about four screens down after you confirm on about, there's your software version, and that should say 5.2.7 is the latest update number. If you're on 5.1, then you are not updated.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right. Devesh, has anyone raised their hand for a question?
Yep. So, Frank, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Frank Mambuka.
Yeah, hello. Sorry about that. It's not easy for me to find the mute button, but can
No
you
worries.
just right in the beginning, my eSight Go's were booting up. How do you initiate the upgrade of the software?
So you first want to make sure that your eSight Go is connected to Wi-Fi, and
Yes.
once the eSight unit is connected to Wi-Fi, it will automatically pop up that a software update is available, and then you choose OK on the screen to initiate that software update. So the main thing,
That's on the app or on the glasses that you'll see
on the
that.
glasses itself, it will pop up on the screen that there's
Okay.
a software update. So once it's connected to Wi-Fi and then your unit is reset, it would be the network should recognize that there's a new software update available, and then it will appear in a box on the screen on your eSight.
Okay, and then to check that, I check on the eSight app and settings.
No, you would go into on your unit itself. You can check if the software is up to date. So not the app, but in your settings menu, you would check there. So it would say 5.2.7 for your software version.
What I would
Okay.
also add to that is that some people don't realize that their eSight device is on standby and then they're waking it up. And the prompt won't always appear when the device wakes up. It is quite important, I think, that you turn the device off completely by pressing and holding the power button on the left-hand side, on the left-hand arm, and then turning it back on again, rather than just waking it up from standby. Would you say that's true, Tyler?
Yeah, you do just a full power down and then powering back up after you connected to Wi-Fi. Best way to do it. Okay. Any other questions there, Rush?
Paul, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Paul, you're muted. Okay, so I think they are not able to unmute themselves.
So remember, if you're on a computer, the microphone is in the towards the upper right of the screen, the top, about 2 icons away from the red leave box. So you would click on that microphone to unmute.
If you're on a Mac, you can use a keyboard command. If you can't find the microphone with your mouse, you do Command Shift and M, or you can press the space bar. I don't remember what it is on a Windows computer.
I had it at the beginning. On a Windows computer, it's a Control Shift and K for the that's to raise your hand.
Unmuting. Yeah.
That's to raise your hand.
To unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, to unmute, I'm not sure, but to raise your hand, you can press that.
Probably Control Shift M or something like that.
Okay, if you can't mute, no worries. Always just call in directly with your questions as well. And going through the the update process, calling into Gentex and speaking with your coach. You can leave a message on the coaching queue, and we can get your coach to follow up. Just be aware though too, the volume of calls and so forth. Call back with the next business day or two for that. So just if you leave a message, please give us time to actually respond to the message with any questions or concerns. But
hey guys, this is Frank again. If I could ask another question, since I found
sure.
my mute button. You were talking about when you go to a theater and watch a show, which I do, and how the colors get washed out, with the bright lights of the stage. And you mentioned the contrast. What is it? What is the term that you use? The
exposure.
Exposure, is that like a menu item? Not like we have zoom, tilt, contrast. Is exposure going to be an item now on the menu in 5.03, or is that automatic?
On 5.0, it'll be in a menu item. So when you go to the menu, after the volume,
the mode.
The mode, sorry,
yeah.
you choose exposure, and then the exposure will have a number in the upper right corner of the screen, and then you can increase or decrease the exposure by adjusting the arrows. So the exposure can be adjusted similar to the zoom. And so if you're looking live at like a live theater production and things look a little washed out, you go to exposure, and then it will say exposure 8 or 10 in the upper right corner. Then you press the down arrow, and you would adjust the exposure to lower that exposure, and then that would help with the oversaturation of the color. And then you would just go back to zoom and contrast, any other adjustment as you need. It would stay at that exposure level.
And this newest version is version 5.03.
No, it's 5. The software is 5.2.
Okay, so I'm still 5.03, so I got to get this to update. So because I don't have that exposure option, and I can't figure out how to get it to update.
Right. So you want to make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi, and then to restart the device. And it might take a couple of restarts in order to have the unit registered if there's an update available with the unit.
I would say that a geeky way of doing it, I mean, I don't want to confuse anybody, but if the prompt doesn't come up after several attempts, you could go into the menu by pressing the menu button on the remote control. It's the bottom large circle on the eSight eyewear itself. It's the back, it's the button at the very back nearest to your ear on the right-hand side. Go into the menu, go down to support, go into support, and there should be a check for updates in there, and you can press that as well. And that's, it's a little more complex than just having it, come up with the prompt for you. But
so pick software in that menu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Frank, were you a distributor purchase, Frank?
Yes.
Okay. So you can call in because you are severely behind on your updates. So if you need further assistance, you might want to call in to get put into our system to get assigned a coach, and they would be able to help you with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's one thing too. If there's someone on here, when someone purchases their eSight unit, if they purchase from one of our distributors, they are entitled to coaches and coaching support. We're not aware necessarily of everyone who has purchased the eSight, so you can call in. You gotta leave a message or have Leah or someone follow up with you. We'll get your contact information and put you in a system for coaching support. So Leah, just thank you for mentioning that to Frank there.
Yeah.
Just to know that you do have that support to help you out, and everyone's entitled to that.
Yeah, because I bought through Florida Vision Technology, and I brought these to NFL football games, shows, Little League baseball games, and I've been trying to use them effectively in many environments. So I'd love to have a coach. Thank you.
So also with the software update, we need the serial numbers of the devices, correct, Tyler? So we get that when you sign in and everything. I'm not sure distributor wise if those are on the listing as
Yeah,
well.
they're on the list. It's just
they are okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's just a different process.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're definitely on the list. It's just the with the prompt with getting it out there, it covers everyone. It's different from our previous
Okay.
update process.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's great because my sister has the same issue and she's getting coached at 2:30 today live to potentially buy these as well. So thank you.
Okay. Very nice. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for attending this, and glad so hopefully the questions help in discussing the features. And like I said, feel free to call into the main number, and we can help people out with it. And hope everyone enjoyed the 5.2 software update. And looking forward to seeing everyone next month in September for the next Vision Central event. And thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.